Hello, Joshua. Thank you for meeting with me to discuss HPL public Wi-Fi service. To briefly introduce myself, I am Andida Nkwazama. I'm a business analyst, and I'm working on a project to access and improve library Wi-Fi offerings. Please tell me about yourself and what you do at HPL.
Thank you, Andy. It's a pleasure joining you. I'm very familiar with the Wi-Fi issues, so I'm glad someone is taking a deep look at this. I'm the head of IT for HPL, and I've been working here for 5 years.
Great. As background, we are conducting an evaluation of the current Wi-Fi access across all HPL branches, focusing on technology, infrastructure, and user experience. The goal is to come up with recommendations for improvements. So I wanted to interview you to better understand the technical challenges and limitations you face as the IT director here. Does this context help set the stage? And if you're comfortable, can we move to the questions?
Yes, that's a very helpful context. Thank you.
All right, good. Could you walk me through some examples of the most persistent Wi-Fi related issues you encounter on a regular basis?
Of course, one frequent problem we see is patrons losing connectivity as they move around the library due to so many dead zones from poor router range, So for example, I often hear clients and students complain about being unable to complete online homework assignments because they kept getting disconnected while moving between study areas.
That makes sense. How widespread would you say the dead zone issue is across branches?
Well, unfortunately, it's quite prevalent, especially in our older buildings. I would estimate at least 50% of branch locations have some degree of spotty coverage because the routers installed years ago don't just have sufficient range. So even our newer branches have some gaps in certain sections.
How about issues related to the capacity during peak times?
We face serious bandwidth constraints and slower speeds in many branches during after-school hours when user activity spikes. So our infrastructure just isn't designed to handle so many simultaneous connections anymore.
Good examples. This gives me a better sense of the scope of issues. On the monitoring side, what limitations exist with getting usage data and diagnosing problems proactively?
Well, our current network management system is quite dated and we lack visibility into real-time bandwidth usage, connection logs, and so on and so forth. So it's reactive rather than proactive.
Interesting. That provides helpful context. What other challenges come up frequently related to the Wi-Fi infrastructure?
Well, another one would be how outdated and fragmented authentication process is. Patrons have to go through multiple clumsy steps to get connected, which leads to frustration.
All right, Mr. Joshua, so we have 5 minutes left, so we're going to wrap up really quickly. But before then, could you elaborate on the issues with authentication process? Why is it clumsy from the user's perspective?
Well, right now, patrons need to first connect to Open Network, then open a browser which redirects them to a login page where they enter their library card number and PIN just for basic access, So if they want to print, they'll need to go back and re-enter their credentials through a different prompt. And we don't even support options like SMS authentication or having user pre-register their devices.
That sounds like an inconvenient process for users compared to the seamless Wi-Fi they may be getting used to elsewhere. Anyway, beyond authentication, have you faced any challenges providing secure external guest access?
Well, guest networking is a big headache right now, and we don't have the capabilities to isolate guest traffics. So users get funneled to the same internal network, which pose security risks. So the infrastructure is too dated to easily implement something more secure for visitors.
That lack of network segmentation sounds like a concern. On the flip side, have you encountered any issues providing sufficient coverage in outdoor and public places across the branches?
Definitely, the flow outdoor sitting areas like the parking lots don't have any dedicated access points. So users experience very spotty connections relying only on the indoor routers. So the infrastructure was never designed with that in mind.
Wow, this has been very helpful, Joshua. I appreciate you taking the time to walk me through these key challenges and limitations with the current Wi-Fi infrastructure. Before we go, do you have any major issues to flag that we haven't touched on yet?
No, I don't think, well, I think we have covered all the big ones. I'm happy I could provide some clarity on where we're struggling most. And please reach out if you need any other details as you put together your recommendations. And I'm looking forward to seeing what improvements you propose.
Of course, I'll be sure to follow up as the project progresses. Thank you again for your time today, Joshua. This discussion will be invaluable as I compile my findings on how we can enhance the Wi-Fi to better serve library patrons and staffs. I appreciate you offering your candid perspective, and I wish you the best of the rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.